Hello and welcome to Denver Union Station. Today we're climbing on board Amtrak's California Zephyr to head from here across the Rockies to Emeryville, California. Our journey begins at Denver's beautiful Union Station. The second station to stand on the site, the current structure was built in 1914, with major renovations occurring in 2012. Denver Union Station serves as the terminus for 6 of the local RTD commuter and light rail lines, Rocky Mountaineers' Rockies to Red Rocks, Amtrak's Winter Park ski train in the winter months, and of course, the California Zephyr. And here it is, Amtrak's California Zephyr. We'll be traveling in car 531, room 2 for our ride to Emeryville. As the crew works to clean and restock our train, we're given the okay to head down to our car. Our room isn't ready when we arrive, as a previous passenger had just disembarked in Denver. To give time to clean, our attendant asks that we drop our bags and head over to the dining car for breakfast, which is perfect because I'm starving. Breakfast is seated on a first-come, first-served basis and is served from 6:30 to 9:30 a.m. Amtrak's traditional dining menu offers 5 breakfast options: a continental selection, the signature French toast, a 3-egg omelet, scrambled eggs, or a breakfast quesadilla. I've had excellent results with all of the options, but I chose the omelet for today. As always, I start my breakfast with a cup of coffee and a glass of orange juice. Our omelet comes made to order with veggies and ham, paired with a side of bacon, potatoes, and a croissant. The omelet is cheesy, the potatoes crispy, the bacon savory, and the croissant buttery and lightly sweet. A perfect way to start a spectacular train journey. Departure is right on time, Train 5 pulling away from Denver as we dine. Wrapping up breakfast, we return to our now ready roomette as the show outside is about to begin. The Front Range rises up to meet the Zephyr, our ascent into the Rockies beginning with our passage of Big Ten Curve. Designed by David Moffat in 1902, Big Ten Curve and the surrounding track are part of Moffat's rail line connecting Denver to Salt Lake City through the Rocky Mountains. The immense curves of the rail line here adds mileage to the route, allowing the rail line to remain at or below a 2% gradient, sitting just below the standard maximum of 2.2% for mainline railroads. The largest and most impressive of the curves is Big Ten. Big Ten is named after its super tight 10-degree curve, where for every 100 track feet traveled, the train's bearing changes 10 degrees. On the inside of the curve are a row of 24 hopper cars, filled with cement and welded to the rails beneath them. Placed here as wind blocks, these cars help prevent trains from being derailed by the intense winds that rush down from the mountains. The rails straighten out and we can see just how far we've ascended from Denver, the cityscape slowly fading into the background. Climbing up into the Front Range, we pass through the first of 28 tunnels on the Moffat Subdivision's Tunnel District. The 13-mile tunnel district contains 28 tunnels and 2 daylighted passes up to the Continental Divide. At the end of the tunnel district is Moffat Tunnel, a 6-mile-long feat of engineering that will take us directly through the heart of the Rockies. It's also here where we receive our first of many announcements from our wonderful conductor, Conductor Brad.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brad the conductor speaking. This is Plainview siding that we're coming up on right now because, of course, if you look to the right, you can see out across the Great Plains of North America. This is usually the area where I make fun of the great state of Nebraska, because I enjoy doing that. Thank you.
From Denver to Grand Junction, Brad will be our conductor, giving facts and cracking jokes along the ride, mostly at the expense of Nebraska. Brad recently retired from Amtrak, but his legacy as a legendary conductor lives on. Brad, if you're watching this, happy retirement. Thanks for making the Zephyr just that much more enjoyable.
Folks, we are now 1,000 feet above the prairie floor above El Dorado Springs, and just to the north is Boulder, Colorado, home of the university and the mighty Colorado Buffaloes football team under the tutelage of Coach Prime, who just last fall hosted the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Folsom Field and smoked them. Thank you.
Crossing over the first ridgeline, it becomes ever apparent why the California Zephyr is the most scenic train in the United States. It's nothing but high mountains and low valleys as far as the eye can see, the Zephyr scenery truly living up to the expectations. The Gross Reservoir Dam peeks out from between the trees, and of course Conductor Brad has some information to share with us.
Folks, here in the West, water is everything. And Colorado is a very blessed state because all of our streams and rivers start here in our state before going downstream to lowland, muddy water, silt-laden places like Nebraska.
Boulder Creek pulls up alongside us, the creek the main tributary for Gross Reservoir. The peaks of the Continental Divide stretch high into the clouds ahead, at the base of which is the mouth of Moffat Tunnel. Moffat Tunnel stretches 6.2 miles under the Continental Divide, connecting the eastern and western United States. This insane feat of engineering took 5 years to complete, replacing the 23-mile-long Rawlins Pass and cutting travel times from 5.5 hours down to just 13 minutes. Winter Park greets us as we exit Moffat Tunnel. The station here sees little traffic in the summer season, but in the winter, Amtrak operates their Winter Park Express, which brings skiers from Denver up into the mountains, dropping them mere steps from the front entrance of the ski resort. Fraser Winter Park is our first stop heading west, and our first fresh air break on the Zephyr. It's an absolutely stunning day up in the Rockies. It's sunny, partly cloudy, and warm, everything you could ask for on a ride on the California Zephyr. Leaving Winter Park, we enter the Fraser River Valley, one of many picturesque valleys on our journey west. And what better way to enjoy these stunning views than from the observation lounge car? It's out of one mountain pass and into another, the Zephyr entering Byers Canyon. The Gore Range and Gore Canyon are our next landmarks heading west, the peak of Mount Powell stretching up to a summit of 13,566 feet. Gore Canyon is one of the most stunning sections of rail on the California Zephyr, the canyon only accessible by river or rail. And I'll just let the scenery do the talking. Whitewater rafting is frequently enjoyed in the Upper Colorado, where the mix of rapid classes offers a thrilling experience for both beginners and experts. Though be wary, as rafters will often give the train the Colorado salute, one which is hardly pleasant. The salute involves exposing one's behind to passing trains, a common sight for as long as the railways have been around. Lunchtime comes as we pass through Bond, Colorado. Amtrak offers 6 lunch options. The menu changed slightly since our last journey. I ordered one of the new options for lunch, the grilled patty melt, on recommendation from our server. The red rocks of western Colorado peek through the green forest as we wait for our food, the river and railway swapping sides every few miles as we make our way through Burns Canyon. Our patty melt is out quickly, served with a side of potato chips. The patty melt is one of a few changes to the traditional dining menu, the sandwich of burger, Swiss cheese, and caramelized onions served between 2 slices of sourdough bread. The patty melt is a delicious lunch option and one I'll be having again for sure. What had been just a taste of red sandstone turns into a full-blown meal on the other side of Burns Canyon. The contrast of red rock and green trees making for some spectacular scenery. Of course, with lunch comes a small dessert, a brownie or butter cake. The butter cake has since become my favorite of the 2 options, the rich cake making for a wonderful end to our dining experience. We pass our sister service, Train 6, just outside of Glenwood Canyon, the canyon walls quickly rising up around us. Glenwood Canyon is by far the most stunning portion of our journey through Colorado. The 12.5-mile canyon is the largest in the Upper Colorado, its walls ascending up to 1,300 feet above the Colorado River. The canyon widens as our train pulls into Glenwood Springs, a fresh air break for the Zephyr. Glenwood Springs is a fantastic place to photograph our train among the Rocky Mountains. The silver Superliners, green trees, and blue skies make for a beautiful shot. Glenwood Springs is also the only stop for Rocky Mountaineers Rockies to Red Rocks. Here, passengers of the Rockies to Red Rocks stay the night, the train only running during the day to ensure daylight at all hours of the adventure. We had the privilege of riding on the Rockies to Red Rocks courtesy of Rocky Mountaineer. The journey was incredible, and I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Departing Glenwood Springs, the landscape changes drastically, as does the weather. The one constant is the Colorado River, the waters wandering mindlessly through the Colorado landscape. Our dining car attendant stops by briefly to hand out our dinner reservation for tonight. Dinner is offered on a reservation basis only, and of the options, I chose the 6:30 seating. Mother Nature decided it was high time to change course, and soon dark clouds loomed overhead. It's not long before our train is engulfed in the storm, the high wind and rain obscuring the world outside our window. We're through the worst of it by the time we reach Grand Junction. The wind is still ever present, whipping down the platform and ruining the audio. North of Grand Junction, we break away from the highways to head through Ruby Canyon. Ruby Canyon is 15 miles of red sandstone cliffs and spectacular geologic formations that line the Colorado River. We cross into Utah as we near the exit of Ruby Canyon. The border here is marked by a sign painted on the rocks of the canyon. One of my favorite pastimes on any Amtrak journey is heading to the back of the train to enjoy some views out the rear window. The California Zephyr treats us to some really special rear views as the river and rails wind their way through the canyon. The canyon subsides as we reach the flatlands of Utah. Off on the horizon, the peaks of the LaSalle mountain range stretch well into the clouds. The second highest range in Utah, the LaSalle Mountains reach a peak of 12,726 feet at the summit of Mount Peel. The town of Thompson Springs lasts all of a minute. Utah's Project Umtra dumping grounds and the Cain Creek Spur passed in quick succession. Rocky Mountaineers Rockies to Red Rocks uses the Cain Creek Spur as it heads south into Moab, the only passenger service to use the line. With a break before our dinner reservation, it's time we take a tour of our hotel on rails, Amtrak's Superliner Roomette. At 6.5 by 3.5 feet or 200 by 100 centimeters, Amtrak's Roomette is the smallest and cheapest sleeping accommodation offered on board. Each room includes 2 bunks with enough space for 2 adults, though I recommend only sleeping 1 per roomette. As we saw in our previous ride on the California Zephyr, the sleepers have received the new blue and gray upgraded upholstery, new cushions, and improved lighting. The new long-distance upholstery includes a quilted leather headrest and a 2-tone gray leather seat cover. Sliding the door shut, the internal lock and new curtains isolate us from the rest of the train. For daytime running, roomettes include 2 large, comfortable chairs. The upgraded upholstery means the seats are much more comfortable for extended journeys. Although not any thicker, the new padding is quite a bit stiffer, helping to stay in shape for longer. The usual pillows are found laid out on each seat, the blankets and bedding stored in the top bunk. The forward seat of our roomette includes the room's temperature controls, an over-the-shoulder reading light, and the room's singular outlet. Roomettes only include this single outlet, so I highly recommend bringing a power strip. The rearward seat includes a reading light of its own, an attendant call button, the room's light controls, and the PA controls. Each roomette includes 2 large windows for some incredible views of the scenery outside, though curtains can be drawn shut when needed. Between the 2 seats is the room's tray table, safety information card, and cup holders. Beside the forward seat is a small closet with a couple of coat hangers and the room's towels, below and beside which is the room's trash can. The stairs beside the rearward seat include a gap on the aisle side for storage, but they do include a small cubby accessible to the lower bunk while sleeping, which is a nice addition. A large vertical mirror is positioned on the wall above the top step. Though small, the roomette strikes the perfect balance between personal space and cozy comfort. The beds are just the right size for a good night's sleep, all while keeping costs low for longer journeys. Dinner is called just as we wrap up the tour of our roomette. On traditional dining trains, dinner starts with an appetizer of either coconut-crusted shrimp or a mixed green salad. The caprese skewer was recently removed from the menu as a part of the long-distance menu revamp earlier this year. For entrees, Amtrak offers their signature flat iron steak, a pan-roasted chicken breast, Atlantic salmon, or a pasta primavera. Dinner begins with a complimentary alcoholic beverage. All passengers are allowed one complimentary alcoholic beverage at dinner, with anything after that a paid extra. Of course, non-alcoholic beverages are complimentary during any dining service. Our appetizer of a mixed green salad is served quickly, topped with a wheel of brie cheese in either balsamic or ranch dressing. Appetizer finished, it's on to the main course, Amtrak's signature flat iron steak. It only made sense that I stick with Amtrak's signature meal for their signature train. The flat iron steak is cooked to order, served with a port wine sauce, a side of mashed potatoes, and mixed veggies. The steak is one of my 2 go-to options for dinner on long-distance trains, and as always, the steak is fantastic. The final course of our 3-course meal is dessert. Amtrak's 3 options have been shaved down to just 2, a white chocolate blueberry cobbler cheesecake and a new chocolate spoon cake. I stuck with the tried and true white chocolate cheesecake, served on a drizzle of strawberry syrup aside a dollop of whipped cream. The cheesecake remains a perfect blend of sweet and sour, topped with a few blueberries and white chocolate shards. It's not super dense, the chunks of sponge cake cutting through the cheesecake base. Yet another excellent dinner on Amtrak. Returning to our roomette, the sun has begun to set over the high cliffs of Utah. The low-hanging clouds of the distant storms come alive in the setting sun, the sky alight over the town of Helper, Utah. With day 1 nearing an end, our car attendant comes by to convert our seats into our bed for the night. The lower bunk in each roomette is 6 feet 6 inches long by 2 feet 4 inches wide and is plenty comfortable enough for my 6'3" frame. For my metric viewers, that's 72 centimeters wide by 200 centimeters long. For passengers traveling 2 to a roomette, the second bed folds out from the ceiling. With both beds set up, the room becomes significantly less accessible, but it still fits both passengers comfortably. Each bed comes with upper and lower sheets, a warm blanket, and a comfortable pillow. After a long day of travel, it's high time for a shower, and what better place to do that than on a train? With no in-room bathroom or shower, roomette passengers must use the communal facilities either at the center of the top floor or across the lower level. The shower room is divided into 2 spaces, a changing area and the shower stall. In the changing area, passengers will find complimentary towels and soap. The shower stall is separated by a frosted glass shower door that includes a stylized P-42 DC and a city skyline as decoration. Beyond the door is the large shower stall with easily adjustable temperature controls and high water pressure. And of course, there's the bathrooms for roomette passengers. Each bathroom is super clean with a newer sink and countertop. The sink includes both hot and cold taps, bottle of soap, towels, cup dispenser, and 2 120-volt outlets surrounding the sink. The angled toilet makes efficient use of the small quarters, a trash can and changing table found on the walls opposite the sink. It's been a long day and I am exhausted, which means it's time to get under the covers and turn out the lights. The morning of day 2 begins with the sounds of our train rolling along through the great state of Nevada. It's about 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Zephyr having crossed into the Western time zone overnight. Although not as spectacular as the day prior, we're treated to a morning view of Nevada's Eugene Mountains as we get ready to start our day. First things first, breakfast. The breakfast quesadilla is calling my name today. a classic cup of coffee and orange juice to be served with our food. The sun bathes the booth opposite us as we enjoy the scenery, the roses at the end of the table accenting the journey with a bit of class. The kitchen is at peak efficiency today, our food served in next to no time. Our quesadilla comes hot and ready, stuffed with eggs and cheese, a side of roasted potatoes and bacon strips. The tortilla is crispy, the eggs fluffy, and the cheese savory. Altogether delicious. The potatoes are tasty, seasoned with a flavorful blend of spices, though the bacon could have used a little longer to get crispy. Definitely a great way to start our morning. After enjoying some wonderful conversation with the fellow passengers at our table, it's back to our room where the Truckee River has since pulled alongside our train. It's not there for long as we swap sides before entering the Reno city limits and the Reno Trench. Reno, Nevada is our first fresh air break on day 2, with plenty of time to stretch our legs and enjoy the outside world. The Reno Trench in which we find ourselves is a part of the 2.25 mile long grade separation project which eliminated rail crossings through downtown Reno. The 33-foot deep trench eliminated 10 grade crossings, improving downtown safety and quality of life while increasing rail throughput and productivity in the city. Climbing back on board, it's time to head back to the observation car as things are about to get scenic once again. Departing Reno, we enter the Sierra Nevada mountains, which means more stunning mountain views for the next few hours. While we're in the lounge car, let's head downstairs where we'll find the cafe. Amtrak's long-distance cafe includes a variety of snacks and meal options, the recently refreshed menu adding some excellent options to the mix. Plus, there are plenty of alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages for sale, the prices of which are fairly reasonable all things considered. The Truckee River is back again to guide us into the Sierra Nevadas. The Sierra Nevadas surround us as we wind our way through the Truckee River Valley. One of the best ways to experience the river, rail, and mountains beyond is by returning to our post at the rear of the train. While we're back here, it's worth taking a brief look at Amtrak's long-distance coach class. Amtrak's long-distance services are typically broken up into 2 service classes, coach and sleepers. Coach class is found at the rear of our train, the car laid out in a 2x2. Each coach seat offers a ton of legroom, an adjustable foot and leg rest, and seat backs which recline almost 30 degrees. Coach seats are also very well upholstered, with a sufficiently comfortable 4 inches of padding on the back and bottom. Coach class is a great way to travel on Amtrak. The new upholstery and significant recline angle make these seats great for longer journeys, and it's much cheaper than our Roomette. A coach seat from Denver to Emeryville costs around $125. Well, our Roomette on this journey was a staggering $1,117. For the space you get, scenery you'll see, and experience you'll have, it's absolutely worth it. Truckee, California is our next stop. The small alpine town is a beautiful bike stop in summer and ski spot in winter. Our ascent to the Sierra Nevadas continues in full force as we enter Donner Pass. The tight and twisty stretch of mountain railroad will take us up to and eventually through the heart of the Sierra Nevada mountains. From this high up, the railway provides an incredible view out over Donner Lake, the namesake of the pass. And hey look, bald eagles! There are quite a few tunnels along this part of the route, though some of them aren't even under anything. Instead, they're built to prevent rock slides from blocking the railway. The tunnel we're exiting now has been placed strategically beside a section of unstable mountain. The views from up here are just stunning, with mountains as far as the eye can see. Our views out over the eastern Sierra Nevadas conclude as we enter Tunnel 41. The 2-mile tunnel opened in 1925 under Mount Judah, shortening Donner Pass by 1¼ miles. Our final meal on the California Zephyr comes in the form of lunch. Returning to the dining car for a final time, I figured I'd try something a little different and order the chili bowl. The chili is savory with a slight note of sweetness and plenty of spices. The bacon, cheese, and a few scallions add some fantastic flavor contrasts to a sizable portion of chili. And of course, there's a butter cake for dessert, an Amtrak staple and the perfect way to conclude our final meal on the Zephyr. The tracks twist and turn their way down the western side of the Sierra Nevadas, our locomotives visible out the window of our comfy roomette. The Sierras subside as we head west, Sacramento's light rail line greeting us as we approach the city center. The capital of California, Sacramento is Amtrak's 13th busiest station and the 2nd busiest in the western United States. Although we're at the platforms, the station itself is almost 1,000 feet south. The platforms were moved in 2012 as a part of Sacramento's Rail Yards project, which saw the addition of the platform realignment and major repairs to the historic station building. The waters of the Carquinez Strait fill the window as we cross the Benicia Martinez Railroad Bridge. It's smooth sailing into the Bay Area, the California Zephyr pulling into Emeryville at the end of the line, and exactly on time. And with that, our fantastic journey on Amtrak's California Zephyr has come to an end. The California Zephyr absolutely lives up to the title of Amtrak's most scenic route. Whether you enjoy mountain passes, river views, sandstone cliffs, or high deserts, the Zephyr has something for everyone. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the California Zephyr as much as I did, and if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. I know this was an unbelievably long video, but these long distance trains just have so much to show, it doesn't make sense to cut anything short. Anyways, if you're new around here, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It's totally free, and it really helps support the channel. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my loyal patrons and members. Y'all are amazing, and your incredible generosity is always greatly appreciated. If you too want your name in the video, or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.